Hey everybody, my name's Oliver Lovell and I am the owner and founder of Renowned Martial Arts Group. So we started around 9 years ago now, and this video is going to be showing you all the steps from the beginning of me being a young martial artist. It's going to show you where we started and the journey and process as we've grown and as we've developed as not just a martial arts instructor, but as a business owner. So this video is going to start with the very beginning, and we're going to run through the process. You're going to see the journey, see the sites, have a look at the buildings, and then also talk about some of the things that we've had along the way of the last 9 years. So first place we're going to visit is more or less where the martial arts journey began, minus a little bit of martial arts experience that I had when I was younger, doing taekwondo, which I was very young then, 8 or 9 years old. Did a couple of years of taekwondo training. Had time away from that due to injury. I had a dislocated thumb playing football. So today we're going to be heading over to a local gym in Barnsley where my full journey more or less began as a serious martial artist, I would say. So this place is, at one point it did a lot of different martial arts. It did MMA, well, it had MMA classes, Muay Thai kickboxing classes, boxing classes. I believe now that they are mainly a kickboxing, and I think they might do karate as well. But we're going to head there now, check out the where it all began basically. The second place is going to be when we left there. We rented mat space for a couple of sessions a week, where we built the core base of people for what was then Gracie Barra Barnsley. And then we're going to move on to the rented matted space that we had, full site, and then where we are now with our new bespoke building that we purchased, I think a little over 12 months ago now. So that's where we're going to be heading today. I've got one here. 5 mile an hour and 30 mile an hour road. So yeah, for me, martial arts has been a big part of my life, more or less from as long as I can remember. Similar sort of story to most people. It was the similar sort of story to most people. It was like watching Bruce Lee growing up. That's where the interest sort of started. That spiked the interest in martial arts, and from then on I've always been in martial arts. Probably from the age of 14 or 15 I've been inside martial arts doing some form of training, whether it be Muay Thai, kickboxing. I did a couple of MMA classes. I did have a few MMA fights. I had 2 MMA fights. I had 2 Muay Thai fights as well, before solely focusing on just training Jiu Jitsu full time. And that's when I seriously started spending all the time just doing Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. That was close, nearly crashed. So yeah, for me, not just for me but for my family as well, it was martial arts a huge part. My dad used to do karate for quite a long time back in the day. A lot of years he spent doing karate. So yeah, I believe it's in the family, I believe it's in the blood. And now my daughter as well, she's 3.5, but she started training when she was 3 years old, which again is a massive head start on where I was when I started training. Like a solid schedule of martial arts where it would be either twice a week minimum or more. Like I said, I was probably 14 or 15 years old. And my daughter started at 3, training twice per week. So I can't wait to see her journey as well. through training Jiu-Jitsu and where she wants to take it as she gets older. Off the back of the rebrand, as we left the Gracie Barra franchise, the Gracie Barra team, we rebranded as renowned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and renowned martial arts, because we would like to, at all the sites where possible, we'd like to incorporate, kickboxing, striking, or boxing, just to give an all-round approach for our members. So quite a few of the sites have already got kickboxing in them. We've got a few sites that we need to add it. We're just looking at the logistics of that now to grow that side and have a full-time kickboxing team at 2 of the other sites. So 2 of the sites have kickboxing, 2 of the sites don't have kickboxing or any form of striking. They're just solely Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academies. We're also got in the pipeline, which I've just started recording recently, our online academy, which is something that we are looking to grow. There are so many times we have members come to us and ask it, after a training session, is there any places where they can speed up the development of their jiu-jitsu, or is there anything outside of being at the academy that they can do? This has been happening for years. We've had Barnsley Academy for 9 years, or I've had Barnsley Academy for 9 years. So these questions are very, very common. And now we're actually doing something about it to offer more value for our members, so that when they leave the academy, let's say they forget something or they need to be pointed in a place where they can watch some instructionals that are done correctly, we can do that. And we know that the level of jiu-jitsu that they're getting taught, because we're recording the online content, is going to be high level. And we know that they will develop more personally just by having access to all this online content that we are now producing, which we're hopefully going to be launching in January 2025. Aside all this that's going on, I have a family as well. I have two daughters. I have my partner Rachel and 2 daughters. So we have one 6-month-old and Brody, the eldest, which is, like I said, 3.5. So while juggling all this, growing the team, inspiring the team, trying to get them to focus on the main goal, which is spreading high-level jiu-jitsu to more and more locations, I have to juggle the family life and try and keep a fine balance. Because for me, family is everything. Being able to provide for them is obviously the number one goal, but spending time with them as they've grown up has been something that most people can't do with their family, and it's something that I have been able to do due to the freedom that jiu-jitsu has given me, through the day. Like now, for example, we're free right now and we can record content, we can visit sites. Usually this time would be spent with the family, maybe doing some phone calls or some emails, but spending the time with the family. So that to me is a huge thing, a huge bonus in what we do. I do get to spend quite a lot of time with them, watching them grow up, watching those special moments where most people don't get that when they work a 9 to 5. So we're just pulling in now to the courtyard where more or less the full-time martial arts journey began for me here in Barnsley. So we're pulling up to a gym called Fight Unit. I think these guys still do kickboxing. They have quite a good, quite a few competitors here that are at a high level in kickboxing. So I'm just pulling up now, see if I can see anything. So this is where they are here. It's like somebody's inside on the right hand side. We're just passing the building here on the right. So this building here is where it all began. For me, more of a full-time martial artist at roughly about 14 years old, I believe. And that's when I started the kickboxing, all the kickboxing stuff. And I was training with a guy back then who was competing at a high level in MMA, in Cage Warriors, a guy called Tengiz. He was a Greco-Roman wrestler. So we did a lot of the MMA classes with him and the Greco-Roman wrestling. So that is where more or less my MMA background came from him and then I put it together with the striking that we had here, and that is where the journey more or less began, competitive side and the full-time martial arts side as well.
My dog was called Tengiz.
Oh really?
Yeah, because my brother used to work as a bouncer.
That's him. Tengiz Tederadzi's name.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That was my
That's the
brother
guy.
worked with a bouncer,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, that's a cool name. What?"
Yeah, that's him. From Barnsley.
A small world, man.
It's just a small world, isn't it? Yeah, so that's the guy. He's still in Barnsley now. I don't know if he's still bouncing or whatever, but yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy that used to coach here back in the day. In between, obviously, him doing his bouncing in Barnsley. I mean, I think he's done bouncing all over, really. But that's the guy who really, he got me my first fight on a show. I'm pretty sure it were either at Tankersley Manor or it were at Doncaster Dome. But I think it were at Tankersley Manor, the first show I had. MMA fight I had. Okay guys, so yeah, this behind me is where it all began for me, my martial arts journey. What I would say is the more serious part of my martial arts journey began here at the fight unit in Barnsley, and that's where I started with my MMA classes and my kickboxing and Muay Thai classes, and everything from here led forward into what's gone on to my martial arts career and also my business career into opening the sites that we've got, which do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and kickboxing now. Okay guys, so next one you're going to come with me on the journey to our site where we officially started renting more mat space. We wanted to build a bigger team, so we're going to head there now to view that site. Yeah, so when we first, when I opened the first site, so what I mean by open the first site is when I officially signed a lease in my own name on a building. I then became responsible for all the bills on that building, you know, rent, rates, gas, electric, water. That then was a big stepping point for me where I had no choice but to make this work. But that wasn't something new for me, because when I left school, or when I was in school, all I wanted to do is martial arts. So the last few years, I knew that I just wanted to do martial arts full time. I didn't want a full-time job. So I got the GCSEs, never did amazing in school. Never did amazing at all, to be honest. I wasn't very academic in terms of reading from a book, copying and you know, regurgitating all that information that you just read on a piece of paper and then somebody marking you on it. I was never great at that kind of stuff. But I don't honestly think it helps. It can help. Certain things can help, you know, reading, writing, numbers, that kind of stuff. But I've learned more of that kind of stuff since I've been out there in the real world doing the businessy type stuff. But since I left school without the grades, you know, I weren't the high achiever in the classroom, I knew I had to give everything, you know, 110% on everything I did, especially in jiu-jitsu and martial arts, because I knew I had not many other options in terms of job-wise, so I had to make this work. So when I signed the lease, it was kind of the same thing, the same sort of feeling that I'd felt previous. Yeah, I was slightly nervous to sign the lease. I made a few mistakes when I first signed that lease that I didn't know then, but since I've owned businesses now for a long time, the mistakes that I would never make now. I think it's important that you make those mistakes and learn from them, unless you have a mentor or somebody to help you out to not make those mistakes, because sometimes those mistakes can be quite costly, especially in business. So for example, the lease that I signed here, on the Barnsley unit, when we moved to a full-time facility, that lease was signed back then in my personal name. Now, most people know that have businesses, you should only ever sign a lease in a limited company, and you should never personal guarantee it. Well, basically, by signing a lease as a sole trader, you might as well personal guarantee it, because if you default on that rent, they can chase you personally to recoup that rent, if that is what they want to do, depending who your landlord is. So that unit, when we went full time at the Barnsley site, the old Barnsley site, you're going to hear me refer to it as, that was signed as a sole trader. So yeah, I had no option but to make that place work. And when we first opened that place, we opened it, I had £1,000, £1,500 in fact, money that I'd saved from teaching 1 class a week. I was charging £5 a class, and I'd saved the money up and saved the money up, and that's the money that I used to open the site. So I bought the mats, I bought the covering for the mats. There were no changing rooms. They came, I think, 1 or 2 months after being open and operational, because I had to save the money. Then we built the changing rooms. There was no female changing rooms then, so I saved another I think a month or 2. Then we built the female changing rooms. In fact, the payment was just for the materials. One of the guys who was an ex-student of mine, he's now a student of a friend of mine in Sheffield. Yeah, I think he trains at Gracie Bar Neepsen now, who was a joiner, and he was a blue belt at the time when we got this facility. He built the changing rooms in exchange for private classes for his labour cost, basically. So he did the labour, I paid him back in private classes, and I just bought the materials. So that back then is how we did it, just to get things up and running and get off the ground and get moving. You know, we had no idea about content. We had no idea about, you know, how to do good social media posts or anything like that. We just provided a good service, and word of mouth is what allowed us to grow and into basically what we've got now, where it's a much bigger business now, because we've got multiple sites and staff and bigger overheads, and it's a much bigger business. But that is basically where it all began, and how we've moved on to develop the martial arts facilities that we've got today. I'm going to be arriving here very shortly to the place where we rented mat space. So this is another martial arts facility in the Barnsley area. They just do traditional martial arts. I think they just do karate, and they may do kickboxing actually. And at the time when I first started, I just wanted to teach Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, of course. So this site offered us to rent mat space on their quiet days. So when they were quiet, they didn't have classes running, we rented their mat space, and basically we made it work. We had classes on a Sunday, 12 until 2, I think, or 12 until 1:30. So yeah, we're just pulling here into Woodmore Court now at Barnsley, and the martial arts facility right now, it's MMA, so it's a bit of a play on words. So the gym's called MMA, but Modern Martial Arts is their name, and I believe they do modern, like they do traditional. So like they do karate and they do kickboxing. So we're gonna have a look at this site here in a second. Just pull up and park up, and then literally on the same courtyard is where I signed the very first lease of where Gracie Bar Barnsley started before we purchased the site, which was roughly about 12 months ago. So guys, if you follow me, I'm going to show you where this all began, with renting mat space, offering more classes for people, more availability, and basically growing the core group of people that started with us before we looked at signing the lease, which again is just behind me here on the same courtyard. We'll go there in a second. So you can see here, just over here is a place where we rented the mat space. It's called MMA, or Modern Martial Arts. The guys here were super nice to allow us to use their facility on their quiet times. In return, we paid for the space, and we also said that any one of their members could train with us completely free, and they didn't have to have a membership with us. So basically we're just trying to provide value for their business, and in return we could grow our business at the same time. So here it is. So as you can see, they do kickboxing, kung fu, karate. So there are quite a few services that these guys provide. These have been here for a while now, quite a few years. So we moved from that building to the one just down here to my left, which we're going to take a look at now. So if you follow me, we'll have a look. So guys, we're here at the site where Gracie Bar Barnsley was born. The full-time facility, the first full-time facility that we had, we started when I was 21 years old, so around 9 years ago now. We took on this building here. So this building was a 1,500 square foot unit. The entrance is just around the other side. We had a sign here so everybody could see it from roadside. We lit that sign up, and then from there, a couple of years later, once we grew, we took the unit next door, and then we knocked through and we had a seating area. So we moved the parents out of the training area and the people that wanted to view into a full seating area with the windows, viewing windows, full reception area. So we had 2 units side by side then, so you can see the development as we grew. We were always constantly reinvesting to provide the best sites possible for our members to have the best training possible, the best timetable possible, and also the best building so they feel nice and comfortable when they arrive. It's not dark, it's not damp, it's not dingy. We try and provide the best we can, and that is the pinnacle of what we do now as we move forward, is providing better and better sites and a better and better service for our members, just so that it keeps everyone super happy and we see that level of jiu-jitsu just skyrocket. I think it's always super important to try and remember where you've come from, where you've started and what you've built. It's quite easy as somebody that's always striving for better or striving for more, it's quite easy to forget what happened in the past and constantly chasing and looking for the better. It's great for the business and great for the members and the people, but it's always super important for me personally to look back and see where we started and what we've built over the years and just reflect on how far we have actually come. And it also helps those future goals, you know, what are the next 5 years, what are the next 10 years going to look like? What we've done in the last 10 years or 9 years is amazing, but I think we can do even more in the next 9 or 10 years and provide even more opportunities for our members to live full-time from martial arts sites, which again is another one of our goals. Okay guys, so the next place we're going to go is to the new site that we have at Barnsley. This is one that we bought last year, one that we built bespoke for martial arts. Basically, it's 2 large matted areas. But follow me, I'm going to show you that new site and then we're going to continue to move on. So we purchased this last year, around just over 12 months ago, I think. And since then, we've potentially got another deal going through soon, which will be a second purchase, which again will provide another great location for our members to be training at. Ideally, as we move forward with the development of the group, Renowned Martial Arts Group, we would like to own the freehold of all the sites that we've got. It's not always possible, by the way, but over the years it'd be nice to be able to do that, own the freehold, which then means we can really put some capital investment in and make the sites something special, something for people to talk about, a place where everybody wants to go and train. That is the overall goal for us. We just want as many people as we can training, changing as many lives as possible, kids, adults, no matter what age it is. Seeing that development for us is amazing, and you will see more of that on the YouTube channel as we get further in. You'll see the development that people have had while they've been training martial arts with us. So another amazing thing that we're pushing for, that we've got in the pipeline, we're either going to announce it before Christmas, I know we've not got many days left, or we announce it in 2025, is our athletes that we're going to be sponsoring in the 2025 competition season. So we've got some amazing athletes, adults and children, who some of which have not been training very long and are having amazing results, you know, in the competition scene. We're going to be looking at giving back, so we're going to be running competition training days and events throughout the year to raise the funds to be able to give back and give opportunities to some of these people, adults and children, so that they can focus on competing, training, competing, and having the best results possible So that's going to be another thing, and that, I believe, is going to grow year on year, and we're going to be giving back as much as possible. We're going to start out like as much as we can, but it's not always going to be massive amounts to start with, but it helps. We've got one child actually that's been competing for a while from the York site, there's two actually, in fact there's three, sorry. They've been competing for a while, medaling really well already, and they want to start looking, or we want them as well to start looking at some international competitions. We think they'd have a really good chance at coming home with some medals. One of them, I believe, is going to Brazil in January to compete. Again, these are amazing things that we can help towards. You imagine at 9 or 10 years old, or any age really, traveling to Brazil to compete in a sport that you love and having a whole team behind you supporting you. That is something special for us, and that is really building a legacy as we move forward, so people can look back and talk about the things that we've done to help them get to where they are, where they want to be. So that for us is going to be another amazing thing that we provide in the 2025 season and beyond. And the more we can give back, the more we will. So I'm super excited for that. It's going to be really good. Yeah, so we as a group, we know the level of jiu-jitsu that we teach and the level of service that we provide, and inevitably people will do what people want to do with their time, whether it's for something recreational or if they want to compete. We know it's something that they will decide inevitably what they want to do. But if you provide a good service, you connect with the members and the students, and they have a good experience overall, I don't personally think people should be scared of allowing the members to cross-train as such. And if someone's working away, we actively recommend that they train while they're away, because we also know from the data that the longer people have off from training, the harder it is for them to get back into the swing of things, into the routine, into the momentum. We understand that. So if people are working away, we have a lot of members that work away. They travel all over the country, and even abroad. We've had a few students recently just been abroad, and they were training while they were in Spain. We used to be Gracie Bar, and even while we were Gracie Bar, I actively recommended people train at other places if they were ever out of the area. I mean, it doesn't make any sense if you live in Barnsley to then travel elsewhere to train. If that's the case, then there's clearly an issue with the product, right? If the members wanting to find something else somewhere else, there could be an issue with the product, so you need to look internally. Very rare we've had this. We don't have this issue, but people travel a lot, and while they're traveling, we always recommend keep training, keep a habit, keep a routine, so then when they finish the work, however long that period will be, when they get back, they're not feeling like they're rusted, they're not feeling like hesitant to come back. They just head back to the academy and it's like they never left. That for us is a big goal, and it keeps the development of jiu-jitsu moving on. Inevitably, all we care about is the development of our members, their personal development of our members and their jiu-jitsu. That is, if we're creating people, if people start with zero level of jiu-jitsu, they train with us, then for a 6-month period they're working away, so they train somewhere else, they're still developing their jiu-jitsu. Then when they come back, they pick up right where they left off and they continue to develop. That for us is what it's all about, people developing and getting better. So yeah, we're just pulling up here now at the new site that we purchased last year. So this folded into the property company that I've got, that I own. So whenever we buy a freehold on a site, I purchase it in the property company, and That way then we're building generational wealth or generational assets while the company trades, or our company trades inside that asset. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to come with me. I'm going to show you around the site, we can show you how it looked before. We've got some images that we can put in here of how it looked before, what we've done to the site, just to offer a very good experience for everyone. So follow me. Very good, very nice.
Very good, very nice.
From a selfish 18-year-old athlete, let's go. We have a larger matted area on the ground here. Then once they're in, they realise that the community is amazing. You know, the coaches are great. And we can't wait to see you all on the mats and on our online program. See you soon.